Hey guys, Darren Levine here, MediaHill.com. Got another quick tip for you. This one's about flash media. We've got a couple of professional variants like the S/S and the P2, which are great and reliable but pricey. But we're not talking about those today. We're actually going to talk about the lesser variants, which are the SD card and the CF card, because we're seeing these a lot more in cameras these days. Cameras that are, a lot more prosumer and professional than these were normally trusted to. And the reason I want to point a few things out to you is that, we're trusting a lot of data to these. Or, your independent production, you did a lot of work on it, and the last thing you want is to lose data. So let's just go over a couple of things. Obviously, you know about capacity. I'm sure you know how many gigabytes you need to get a certain number of minutes that you need for production, which is great. Hopefully you know about the speed. You can get class 6 sometimes, or class 10 is usually preferred. This one's 30 megs a second, which is pretty much good for almost anything you're going to use this for in terms of these kind of cameras that have these built in. Maybe you need more speed, maybe you can do with less speed. That's up to you. Try to check your camera specs and make sure you get the right one. But the main thing we're going to go over is how you need to buy these based on reviews and ratings, not because of a brand. I use Sandisk, but that's just my preference. There's plenty of other good brands out there, but even good brands make occasionally crappy products. So say I look at a Sandisk product and I see it's got like 100 reviews of people saying they've had problems with it, it loses their data, gets corrupt. I'm not going to buy that. That's just common sense. So I'm not the kind of type that's going to go and just go into like the local drugstore where you can buy these things and spend a couple bucks. Please don't do that. Trust your data to something a lot more reliable. Both of these cards, I'm sure I looked up to have much, much better reviews than the average cards that are made, because these are consumer cards. They're made originally and still mostly for consumer cameras. A lot of manufacturers don't value, pictures of, your cat, your kid, or someone you're hiding in a pit in your basement as much as, Sony and Panasonic care about their independent film market, because, well, they get more money of that on, well, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but whatever. So, when you look for these cards, look at the ratings, obviously make sure all the other specs are correct, and then purchase based on that. Now, the other thing is, they're a lot smaller, they're usually made of plastic, and especially with these guys, they are very, very, very thin and plasticky. So you always want to keep them in a case, or at least in your car, not in your car, well, yeah, in your car maybe, but in your camera. Well, the problem with these cases that they come with is, okay, that goes in, you got this, and you're on set, and you're like, okay, let's extract the little guy out of there. Okay, careful, got him. Okay, got him, got him. That's a little too tedious, and you really can't be fumbling around with these because they can easily break. Sure, I can easily bend this right there like that. I'm sure if I put this on my hand and just pressed hard enough, it would crack in half. So, you're pretty sure if you gave this to your little baby kid there, he would bite through this in half a second flat. So a better idea is to get a case for it, which can hold a number of things. This one's got a couple cards in it. You just put it in there, and there you go. Off to the races. This is a cheap old case that I have lying around. There's a lot newer and better ones. Just case in point, go get a nice case for these that can hold these cards securely, and it's easy to get them in and out and into your camera. The other thing I just want to mention about workflow is when you're on set on a film set and you got to be downloading these constantly, make sure obviously you take it out of the camera, put it right into the laptop and download to not 1 but 2 hard drives. 2. Before you clear the data on this and start shooting it, make sure you have 2 full copies of it. You're not going to get a second chance if that if your one and only copy gets deleted. Once you start shooting on this, there's no way to re-recover something you previously shot on it. Not a chance. Tape is an archival medium that we're kind of moving away from in the prosumer and consumer world. Tape is great because you shoot it, you capture it, you put it on a shelf for safekeeping. These you don't have the opportunity to do that. These are not an archival format. So make sure you download 2 places, and when I get back home, I got double backed up again, so I'm a little more paranoid, but I've never lost a file. I've never had to tell a set full of people, I lost the footage you all just worked on for 10 hours straight. That is an awkward situation, so I want to keep you from that situation. So please heed my warnings. Buy based on ratings, never buy something that's not reviewed by anybody, because that means it's an untested product in my eyes. And make sure you obviously buy the right speed, the right capacity, and get a proper case for it, and make sure you double back it up on set. So that is a quick tip for flash media. Enjoy using them. It's great not having to capture like we did with tapes, but keep these little tidbit, quick tips in mind, and you'll never lose a file, and you'll be on your happy way. Darren Levine, MediaHell.com.